going on? It's your man Zoe Brown, and welcome back to the class where we are a distinguished group of businessmen, educators, and entrepreneurs. We are still on the topic of networking, fellas, and I want to know, for you, what opportunities have materialized solely off of networking or word of mouth?
I think for me, it would be doing photography. Just starting off where I started off in journalism, and then went to a networking event. It wasn't a networking event, but I networked at an event. And from there, a mentor of mine recognized my networking ability, and he actually put me in touch with a local newspaper. That newspaper, I started out writing, and then from there, started to give me photo gigs, so to speak. And from there, I had to learn to step my game up with the camera, because it was like they just kept coming. And as I developed through that, I developed into a better photographer. And I still have a ways to go, but it's interesting how it all started out from me just networking at an event.
I mean, one of the biggest opportunities for me, or I guess you should say just an upside in general, has been opening up new areas of interest that I didn't know I would be interested in or good at otherwise. So, you know, I work in advertising. That's not necessarily where I focus on networking. I have a wide network of people in advertising, but the most beneficial networking to me, I think, outside of my field, has been getting to know interesting guys, interesting men in the community who are into other stuff, whether it's fashion or tech or photography or whatever, and then realizing that I'm kind of interested in that stuff too. So it's kind of like what E was talking about. Like, you discover that you're good at photography, and now you're going to practice that and work on that a little bit. I mean, for me, it was being around entrepreneurs and being inspired by their business ventures and what they were trying to do, and thinking like, hey, I might be kind of good at that too. I might want to start a brand of my own too, some sort of fashion line, which has nothing to do with what I do for a living, but it's a whole new creative outlet for me. So that's a positive thing.
Okay, so I know we're discussing networking, but there's so many different types of networking. There's so many ways to go about it. That, I mean, so why don't you tell us, about networking?
Networking in its true form is making a connection with a purpose. And that purpose means that there's a connection, there's going to be hopefully a connection between you and that other individual that you're networking with. Meaning you can do something for them, they can do something for you, or the two of you can do something together and make something great happen. And this is to be differentiated from social networking, which sometimes has no purpose at all. So thank you for bringing up that question. So we want to make sure that when we are networking, it is for a purpose. And to be honest, I've gotten more opportunities from people who I don't know and just networked with than people who have been in my life for many years. So that shows you how powerful networking is. And I even hear some people say that your network is your net worth. If you don't have a lot of people in your life that you can connect with, do things for you, or you can do things for them, or you guys can do things together, then that says a lot about like your net worth. Social networking probably doesn't have as much wealth as true, authentic, face-to-face networking with purpose and with value. Reputation comes into play when networking is involved, because if you have a negative reputation, then it can affect your network negatively. Meaning, what people hear about you, it could be believed, whether it's true or not. It can possibly affect your network.
So to add to that, the reputation, everyone wants a positive reputation, but can someone's reputation be a downfall? And how do you then change it? So one of the things that we see in society today is someone's rep. How can someone come out of that rep, especially if it's a negative rep, to positively change their life? And how will that change the way they network? Their network is, you said, their work,
net worth,
is their net worth. So if someone's stuck in this reputation where I'm big and I'm bad, and this is what I do because it's what they've always seen, and I'm afraid to show them something new. How do we teach them how to correct that misrepresentation?
Right. No, I don't know if everybody has an Olivia Pope in their life that can actually fix some things. But, you know, speaking about Olivia Pope, sometimes she would just recommend that the person own up to what's being said about them, especially if it's true.
Right.
Just own it. Hey, how about write a book about it? And don't talk about it until you get on the Oprah Winfrey Show and make them pay you for it. I mean, you know, you have to kind of learn how to figure out how to turn lemons into lemonade, because you're right, everybody's not perfect. And sometimes you're gonna slip and you're gonna fall, and something can get out there that can give you a bad reputation, but it doesn't mean you can't recover. You know, it might be hard to recover, and sometimes you can't take back what's said, but you can always be consistent in who you are, and you always have a second chance, you know, to start over again. And, you know, and just take ownership. Hey, I did it. You know, I'm not perfect. There's probably a lot of things that you guys did too that we don't know about. It's still hidden, it's still in the secret. Unfortunately, my secret is now out in the public, and you know what? I'm gonna own up to it, and I'm gonna do what I can to make it right.
And that will attract people to,
Yeah, absolutely.
to want to network with you.
Absolutely, because that keeps it real. Because everybody can relate to the realness. Everybody can relate to making mistakes and to being not perfect.
Yeah, I think, you know, what you can do is surround yourself with a couple of people or a different network, which is kind of counter to that negative reputation.
Oh yeah.
So can you surround yourself with a network that is combating those negative perceptions, is actually the opposite of whatever the negativity was.
Right.
So then by association, when you talked about association before, you're being related to something more positive.
Right.
There's that saying, show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you who you'll be in 5 years.
Right,
Something like that, right? So show me your positive network,
Right.
and I'll understand that you're working towards something positive, even if you're coming from a bad place previously.
Right. So to conclude, there are so many wonderful opportunities that can materialize out of having a good network. And there are also some negative things that can happen when you network with people who give you a bad reputation. So now that you know better, you can do better. This is The Class, and I'm Zoe Brown. See you next time.